Beginning life as an early in-house tech demo at Polish developer Fumi Games, Mouse PI for Hire garnered viral attention for a singular visual approach, imitating the rhythmic plasticity of rubberhose animation, best known for its use in Steamboat Willie cartoons. Mouse throws together a bunch of disparate elements from the so-called Roaring Twenties to create a world that feels heightened yet narratively feasible. With art design already being one of its strongest assets, let's investigate how the rest of the game holds up. This is Stuart from Smash Jump, here with Scott Hornell's review of Mouse PI for Hire. Private Eye Jack Pepper, enthusiastically voiced by Troy Baker.
What's this about, Wanda? Care to toss me a cheese crumb?
Explores a web of corruption in the city of Mouseburg that implicates Hollywood starlets, mayoral candidates, and shady scientists alike. Though at first a lone missing persons case, the investigation takes Jack all over the city, from opera houses to film sets to New Orleans bayous and underground laboratories, all wrapped in a detective noir pastiche that puns its way through ethnic tensions and prohibition politics with references to violence against the shrew community and drug-running cheeseleggers. Clearly, despite its narrative trappings, Mouse is not a real noir mystery, but that hardly matters when I'm machine gunning paint thinner into anthropomorphic mice. The game plays its noir stylings with the requisite monologuing and East Coast slang for laughs, and it works a treat. The aforementioned rubberhose style layers hand-drawn 2D animation over 3D environments to stunning effect. Health and ammo pickups dance excitedly in place, gangsters pirouette in hells of dying gunfire, and weapons bend and stretch through creative reload animations. From start to finish, Mouse PI for Hire is a feast for the eyes. It's a good thing that Mouse makes such a fantastic first impression on the visual front, because the game itself starts far too slowly, kicking things off with your bare knuckles and a basic handgun. Fumi mete out new skills and weapons at a snail's pace, adding just a shotgun and a Tommy gun, wittily rechristened the James gun in a nod to the filmmaker of the same name, in the first few hours. The linear mission-to-mission structure is largely humdrum, ferrying Pepper back and forth between levels and his Mouseburg office, where you'll catch up with alloys, trick out your weaponry, and pin new clues to the crime wall. However, in spite of its title, the game features little to no actual detective work. Clues are relegated to collectible status, while the caseboard acts as a mere narrative device. Leads are resolved into the next objective with a single button press. Once the joys of its visual splendor wore off, I found myself yearning for something to shake up Mouse's early formula. The visuals may be one of a kind, but Mouse clearly owes its fisticuffs to so-called boomer shooters like Doom, Quake, and Duke Nukem 3D. Locking the player in a large arena with various environmental hazards, platforming options, and wave after wave of enemies have all been tenets of this particular subgenre for decades, and Mouse echoes those classics with style. Though it may sound like nitpicking, I found the marking of enemy spawn points with tiny skull symbols above specific doors took much of the tension out of combat encounters, allowing for entire groups of mice to be dispatched with a well-placed stick of dynamite, a seemingly small design choice that makes an outsized impact. Cartoonish design ensures weapon feedback doesn't hit as hard as your standard military shooter, but all the aforementioned visual flair makes up for it. An amusingly broad swath of wacky weaponry unlocks at a steady rate, with only a few duds in the bunch. Old faithfuls like Jack's handgun, the Miser, shotgun, the boomstick, and dynamite play their traditional roles well, whilst the Hellraiser, a bone-launching chainsaw, and the Varnisher, a turpentine-loaded SMG, stand out amongst the crowd. Unfortunately, others, namely Grenade Launcher, Loose Cannon, and Fiery Double-Barrel Kiss Kiss, are clear repeats of earlier weapons. They're not all winners then, but enemies perish in such creative ways that you'll undoubtedly switch out your trusted favourites for new additions from time to time, a number of which are designed to stun or freeze enemies and set them up for high damage attacks. There's balancing issues galore between those two weapon categories, but they nonetheless allow for interesting combinations that rewarded my creativity without requiring it. Thankfully, Mouse does progress in the second act, often setting 2 or 3 objectives at once across its world. The impact of this progression is twofold. First, the admittedly bare-bones roadhouses, one-stop shops for upgrades and ammo, actually get some use as you plan routes across the elegant isometric overworld. And second, pinning several missions worth of clues to the crime wall is markedly more satisfying, at least on a narrative level. Upgrading my weapons also became more worthwhile as I would consistently return to WizKid Tammy's workshop with enough blueprints to fill out at least 1 or 2 upgrade slots, or perhaps unlock a weapon's alt-fire mode. However, the upgrade system itself felt particularly modest and backwards, considering those precious alt-fire modes, like the Boomstick's Child Shot or the Devarnisher's Turpentine Mine, are the first to unlock for the cost of 1 solitary blueprint. The ammo economy is similarly broken. Jack will pick up generous amounts of ammunition from fallen enemies, supply crates, and in secret areas. You can also purchase ammo between missions at shops and roadhouses. As a result, neither was I short on ammo to the point where I played differently, nor did I make any difficult choices in where to spend my resources. Throughout all of this, I would have preferred to purchase a grenade launcher or attach a second shotgun barrel myself instead of dealing with Jack's increasingly unwieldy arsenal. It's all the more frustrating because I can see the pieces of a genuinely dynamic, weighty upgrade system amidst all the repeated weapons and unused ammo. The design of the levels themselves developed as well, putting more emphasis on exploration and platforming, finally utilizing the full suite of traversal skills Jack acquires throughout the adventure to reach hidden areas. While the journeys to these areas were a blast, the rewards, such as handfuls of coins or some ammo, left something to be desired. Even the ostensibly higher valuable collectibles like blueprints or baseball cards had very little impact on gameplay. Had I not been reviewing the game, I'm not sure I would have gone out of my way to track down these secret areas. Unfortunately, the final mission and accompanying boss suffered from serious technical issues in my playthrough. A 3-stage boss fight that became so flooded with enemies and effects that the frame rate dipped substantially. It left a sour taste as the credits rolled that fortunately dissipated as I recalled the previous 20 hours of fun. Mouse PI for Hire takes its sweet time to get moving, but stick with it and you'll uncover an imaginative, visually striking throwback shooter. An easy sell at such a reasonable price.